Good evening. Bez Hashem, the shir is in Lilu Nishmas Mordechai ben Daniel. I want to thank Torah Anytime for making the shir available to the public. And we are at the end of the 18th element that a person needs to focus in on to bring one closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu through the process of Cheshbon HaNefesh, the concept of introspection, analysis, and using the various tools of what we receive from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and what goes on in the world to motivate us to become better Jews. And incredibly, we know there are no coincidences in the world, and the fact that we are in the midst of this corona virus machla, this horrific situation that's plaguing society, and specifically so many Jews throughout the world are being impacted so much, and so much Torah, so much tefillah is being impacted. It's pretty incredible that when we get to the 19th element of what the Chovos HaLevavos talks about, we can see a direct correlation. So, as we know, there are no coincidences in the world. Let's just finish up aspect 18. And we stopped last time when the Chovos HaLevavos was telling us that one of the important aspects of Cheshbon HaNefesh is to think about how we really have no business and a right to feel haughty, how the element of gaiva is such a terribly damaging element in our lives, and while it could easily seep in because of the fact that we are so elevated that we can talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we can thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we can pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, yet all these things are gifts from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He has elevated us, but not because we are intrinsically so great. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us that greatness. He granted us that gift of being, in a sense, above the angels, and we can't in any which way ever let that get to our heads, so to speak, and allow us to feel haughty. So we're up to U'misapar Alecha Tzadikim in my Chovos HaLevavos in the Leif Tov, it's on page Reish Chav Zayin. U'misupar Alecha HaTzadikim sheyomer achrei tefilosai. One of the great tzaddikim, we know that at the end of Shemon Esrei we have a L'kai Netzar. Many of the Maroim and Tanoim would inject personal tefillos, personal aspects of supplication to HaKadosh Baruch Hu at that particular time. And now the Chovos HaLevavos relates that in light of this concept of focusing on anava and not allowing the gaiva to seep in, one of the tzaddikim would say after his davening, Elokai, my God, lo bnei sheineni makir es pesichos erki. It is not because I don't recognize how low of a value I am as a fleeting human being. It's not because I don't understand how great you are and how exalted you are, that I have the sort of unmitigated goal to stand in front of you. It's not because I'm blind. I recognize what a nothing I am. I recognize who I'm talking to. I fully recognize, and I really have no business talking to Kadosh Baruch Hu. I know how great you are. And what am I? I'm a nothing. I'm a fleeting group of chromosomes, which is here one day, gone the next. Am I really worthy to ask you for something? It sounds when we stop and reflect, what it is. This is the chesed. The chesed is mind-boggling because what kind of chutzpah do we have? God runs the world. He knows what's best for us, and we come off, start asking and expecting things, and even have the goal to request something. Because I'm not fitting to articulate my bakoshes, not even to praise you. Who am I to praise you? It's a complete two different worlds that are unimaginable how they can even connect. Where do I, some lowly being, come to connect to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu? And to sanctify your holy name with that same sanctity that the great heavenly angels, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, purely spiritual beings, they sanctify you in that way. So where do I come off being in that same company? The only reason why I sort of have the gumption to say this and to do this and to articulate and to say Kedusha and to reference HaKadosh Baruch Hu, make sure Mam Toisi, you elevated me. You gave me that koyach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You made me who I am in giving me that power. You told me to call to you. We just had the parasha, Hashem Karachim V'chanan. You gave us that koyach during the difficult times and really every single day to call out HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, and that which you have given me reshus, you've given me permission. You've said it's okay. Little Yanko, little Beryl, Avramela, Yitzchako, whoever the Jew is, go ahead. You can say it. Where do I come off saying it? You can say it. I'm giving you reshus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to us, to the extent that I'm able to grasp to some degree your greatness, and to the extent that I can in any way reach a little bit of the honor that and the glory of what you really represent. And the ability that you've given me to express and to articulate that I am your servant. I'm here to be Mekadesh Shem Shemayim. I'm here to do what I can to make my little contribution to the world. And that I humble myself in front of you. So this is the moving and incredibly insightful prayer that one of the earlier tzaddikim would articulate at the end of davening after saying all these wonderful things and being mishabech HaKadosh Baruch Hu, beseeching HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he would finish by saying, I know full well this is not me. I would never sort of make that assumption and cross that line to request things from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the Master of the world, the Ribbon Shloilo. But I do it because you gave me the ability. I'm not even mentioning my needs, really, with the assumption that therefore you should grant my needs. Very amazing what he's saying here. We think we know better. We think we know what we need. We know what we want, and we sometimes have great passion in articulating those needs. Okay, I'm not mentioning my needs in order to bring you to the point where you should do them for me. The case of the you know better. You know best. You know what's best for me. You know better. You know me better than I'll ever know myself. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it isn't I'm asking these things from you that I actually expect you to actually do them for me. What an interesting sort of angle on things. How many times have we heard people say, I feel it's not for me, I tried so many times, you never get answered. The Chosov is saying it's not about getting answered. Who says we should get answered? Why in the world would we assume that we know what's better for us than HaKadosh Baruch Hu does? So what is the point? So why does HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell us Atachinein, Sachlanu, Hashivenu, Rifeinu, Barechalenu? What's all that about? Elasisi Zois, incredibly, says the Chavos Havamos, Elasisi Zois Kadesha Argish Kama Mo'ich Anizakakucha. I want you to hear from me, okay? In order for me to feel, in order to inspire myself, how much I need HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how much I'm reliant on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how everything I have is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to express to you that I have complete trust in you. So even though we're asking for certain things, but I guess we're reminding ourselves, who are these things coming from? Who's going to give us das? Who's going to give us a refu? So it's all coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not because I have a specific request that I know better, but I'm reminding myself that I have to have that bitachon. It all comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that there is not one element of what's going on here with all of the tishtadlus that America is doing and the world is doing for the coronavirus. There is not one element that's going to happen without HaKadosh Baruch Hu deciding that it's going to happen, in the time frame that it's going to happen, with the speed that it's going to happen, with the impact that it will or will not have. It will be on Hashem, and He knows best what's going to be. If by in my foolishness I'm asking for something that's really not good for me, if I want this, I want that, and I make it feel, and I don't know what's good for me, and therefore I think I need that new car, and I think I need that bonus or that new job, whatever it might be. So if in my foolishness I'm asking for something that I really shouldn't be asking for, because you know way better than what's good for me than I do, and it's not for my benefit, I'll not to malayas bakashosi. Please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we have to have this in our minds. Then don't do it. Please don't listen to me simply because I'm asking. Only listen to me because you know what's best for me. And if I happen to hit the mark, now what I'm asking for is actually the right thing based on you knowing my entire circumstance. Then Bez Hashem, then hopefully you'll give it to me. But only if it's good. That's why we don't pray for a particular shidduch to work out. We pray if it's good, if it's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. So our tefillahs help to some degree, but how limited are we when we really think in the pure perspective of what's really best for me? We don't know. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows way better. El aseh esma shetoiv beinecha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, do what you think is best. Because with your greatness, what you choose for me from up high, from you knowing all of the intricacies of the world, and you know what's really going on, you know way better than I do what I should be choosing. So please, I'm relying on you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, I'm giving myself over and completely reliant upon you to deal with my matters. Okay, any of your decrees is b'chvod munach should remain. It's not meant to be changed. It's not flippant. Your decisions and your decrees are thought out and obviously directed at what's best for me. And I completely give myself over to your lofty, elevated way of running the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please understand in Kuf Lamed Aleph, my heart is not elevated. Lo Ramwa Inai, my eyes do not look with any type of gaiva throughout the world. I don't go to places that are beyond me and try to understand things that I can't fathom. I'm not there. It's not who I am. I'm a humble person, David HaMelech says, who understands his place. As we know, the David HaMelech was one of the great Anavim in human history. Okay, and I would not ask you, okay, if I didn't silence my soul and quiet my stature, lower myself, like the baby who's weaning from its mother, the quiet baby who's weaning from its mother and gaining sustenance, quiet and soft and so dependent. That's my soul. My soul is like a young child being weaned, being nursed in a very humble state. This is our approach to tefillah. And this is our approach in our relation to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the 18th particular aspect of Cheshbon HaNefesh is the Cheshbon HaNefesh of how humble we should feel when HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us so many opportunities to do things that we really have no business doing. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu grants us that right, grants us that schus. What a bracha. What an incredible bracha. Okay, so now, which brings us now to number 19. And again, it's hard to think of how appropriate this is at this particular time, with the world, with the winds of uncertainty and confusion swaying all around us, and so much that we feel frightened about, so much that we're uncertain about, and yet we come now to this 19th aspect of the Cheshbon HaNefesh that really hits us right between the eyes very, very strongly, very clearly. So he says like this: the 19th of the 30 various elements involved in Cheshbon HaNefesh is as follows. Cheshbon HaNefesh ala adam lasos la'atzmai, a person must calculate for oneself. Shaborei hitz lo'isoi me'amikrim haroim u'me'atzor shalom hazeh. Look at how I'm protected and saved again and again from the evil circumstances and the different afflictions that come upon this world. And there are so many things out there, and Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saves me time and time again. And from the various sicknesses, that visit people. We know, we see what goes on. We know the various machus in the Welt, and if a person is spared, a person is healthy, how much hakaras hatov, how much to recognize what HaKadosh Baruch Hu has done for me personally in that regard. In the various situations, people find themselves in the most challenging and difficult situations which come upon people. Situated by Kigayin, and he goes through a litany of different situations that can happen. Masar, person can be in jail. How many of our brothers and sisters we know, various situations, they end up in jail. Rav, Vitzamed, there's famine and there's thirst, that there's a shortage of food in times in the world. Kor v'chaim, there's sometimes extreme cold, sometimes extreme heat. Samei maves, people are poisoned. There are different situations where poison afflicts the world. Chayos ros, there are wild animals that could attack people. Tzaras, there's leprosy. Ter fadas, there's sometimes mental illness. Person loses their sanity. Shisa kachushim laminov, sometimes our bodily functions, the senses that we utilize, break down, and they don't seem to work. Yisurim daimim, and various other types of afflictions that come upon the world. There's so many things historically. How many different things and plagues and machlis have happened? And Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has saved us in so many different occasions. V'zois, and this happens that we are spared. Lamrei shadam yodei Hashem agiel l'lizbo yisur meila. And again, he's not apologetic. He doesn't have to be politically correct. He didn't write this book in 2020 where he needs to be worried about people's feelings and people's attitudes. He says it the way he says it, and this is a Rishon talking to us. So let's take his words. Let's not take it personally, because he's saying the truth. Because when we think about the truth, there is not one Jew who can say, I don't deserve a certain thing. Where do we come to not deserving anything? Where do we come to feel that we're above the possibility of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rahman al-Tzan, punishing us? It's a frightening thought, but can any Jew say that is kutmin it? It's not coming? Wow, this is not fair. Where do we come off saying this is not fair? And we get spared. It's coming to me. A person, an honest person, who's willing to look at himself honestly and then look in the mirror, will say, yeah, this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu does this for me, not because I'm deserving of it. This is in spite of the fact that it would be coming to me if it Rahman al-Tzan happened. His chayvan anoshim ela, where the person's obligated to suffer these afflictions because of the sins that a person has done in their lifetime in front of Hashem. Because we have rebelled. And we've sort of cheapened his words. He gives us directives, he gives us mitzvos, he tells us what to do. Have we done it? What? We've never spoken Lashon Hara, we've never wasted valuable time, we've never been lax in fulfilling kibbut avim or so many other, or chasodim, or so many other obligations that we're obligated to do. The way we daven, the way we learn, so many different aspects. Have we really been committed and connected to those responsibilities the way we should have been? That we're going to say, minute? We can't have that attitude. He's saying to us, Clark, we can't have that attitude. Doesn't mean we can't cry out. Doesn't mean we can't pour our hearts out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But not because we deserve not to be in harm's way. And we didn't give, when we did these things, did we give HaKadosh Baruch Hu shvach v'dah and turn away from what we were doing? Did we take it to heart and recognize the kindness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he looked the other way about our indiscretions and our transgressions? L'chaza b'tshuva, We didn't turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with a sincere tshuva. Nor did we say vida. We didn't confess to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the fact that we were rebellious. And we did different things that we shouldn't have done. Zman Rav Kokach, all of this time that we were involved in these things. While all this time that we were doing different things that we're not proud of, that maybe we should never have done, that clearly are not right. And during this time, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu clap us, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu patch us. No, He gave us tovos v'chasadim. He gave us kindnesses. He did wonderful things for us. He had such compassion and such patience to not punish us right away, waiting for tshuva. And did we do it right away? Did we respond the way we should have immediately? Unfortunately not. When a Baal Seichel analyzes what we are and how we've conducted ourselves, the mistakes that we've made, and the kindness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that this way HaKadosh Baruch Hu directs us, and He punishes us to be able to bring us back into a proper focus through the difficulties, through the challenges. And yet, despite the fact that so many do receive it, when we are spared, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, you know what, I'm gonna let it go. Okay, that somehow while these things do afflict so many, Baruch Hashem, it hasn't afflicted me. It hasn't afflicted us. Like you said before, while all this being said in an atmosphere in a situation where it would have been coming, it would have been fitting. When a person thinks about this, what's our reaction? What's our feeling when we see how Baruch Hashem, despite the fact that yes, there's a lot of apprehension, a lot of tzaros, but look where how many have been saved, how many have avoided machlis and avoided different situations that are swirling in the air. That so many things that affect other places and other countries, and yet Klal Yisrael has been incredibly protected in so many different situations. Okay, obviously, there are times that tzaros does come to Klal Yisrael, and we certainly have seen in this long golus different machlis and different yisur. But l'maisa, let's recognize when it doesn't hit and it doesn't come, how fortunate we are and how much we have to respond to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with unbelievable gratitude. We have to give total praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the kindnesses that He's done for us. And with alacrity, with zrizus, with fervor, with emotion, to return to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to do tshuva. And what I haven't been punished for yet, all that whole long list of things that I've done that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hasn't given me klap for, hasn't punished me yet, let me admit them, let me do tshuva on them now, so I can, Be'ez Hashem, spare myself that punishment. Alaf has Adain lo henish osaleim al afaz mana rav she'over meyoz shu ososod. Even though a great amount of time has passed, so much time is passing, yet Baruch Hashem, I'm still here, I'm still whole, I'm still healthy. Let me at least now wake up to recognize the incredible Chazi Hashem and how much I owe Him in terms of the tshuva that I really should do. The Yoretz Dovik Avodas Habari, a person should run to cling to service HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We talk pachad misrael, from the fear. There's nothing wrong if the fear. Sometimes fear is paralyzing, and we're trying to always we get advice. We sometimes get therapy. Don't be so afraid. How to deal with fear. Fear. Well, listen, for youngsters it's sometimes overwhelming, but fear for an adult who recognizes what's out there and recognizes that based on the mistakes I've made, who am I to say that I don't deserve it? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given me the opportunity while I'm still here and still alive and still healthy to do tshuva. So why would a person not run to that kind of avodas Hashem from the pachad? Nothing wrong. Pachad is a great motivator. Fear is a great motivator. I don't want to be punished, so I'm gonna improve. In order to remove this crisis and this situation from me, to make sure that it doesn't hit me. So I'm going to change myself. As the pasuk says, if you listen to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's voice and command, and you do what's right in his eyes, and you listen to his mitzvahs, and you observe all of his chukim, all of the various afflictions and sicknesses that I place in Mitzrayim, I will not place upon you. So literally, this is what we have to recognize, that it is literally our job, it's within our hands to determine whether or not HaKadosh Baruch Hu meets out that affliction. It's not to say that therefore we should ignore what the doctors say, chas v'sholom. We have to be protective, we have to do our shtadlus in terms of the b'derech hateva, the way things go, but at the end of the day, it's about our relation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and how HaKadosh Baruch Hu reacts to us will depend on us. Are we ready to do the tshuva, to change, and to be reflective and introspective, and to become closer to Him? Again, in the pasuk says, Cheshbon HaNefesh, if we will, and when we will observe the various statutes and mishpatim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shmartem v'asisem osam, and we observe them, we fulfill them, what's going to happen? All the sicknesses and all the diseases of Egypt, haram, the horrible afflicted things that he afflicted Mitzrayim with, Ashedata, which you know about. You saw. You were in Mitzrayim. You saw the various things that come into the world. So we take it for granted. That happens only in other countries. That happens there and here and then wherever, but doesn't happen to us. Well, you see, Bach. I'm not going to do it, but why am I not going to? Why am I not going to place these things upon you? For only one reason. Ekev tishmun es hamishpatim ela u'shmartem v'asisem osam. That's why. One of the great Hasidim, famous Gemara Brachas, told his disciples, Rubanai, look, my son. When he put his hand over the hole where the serpent was, his foot over that hole, Rubanai, ein aroid memis ela chet memis. It's not corona, it's not some serpent, it's not a rattlesnake, it's not some cobra that kills. It's a sin that kills, and that's what we have to be afraid of. And obviously, we have to, once the situations in the world, we have to again be prudent and follow everything that we're being told. Sound medical advice are being given by experts, by people who care and people who know. But at the end of the day, that's not what we have to be afraid of. The reason why there is this problem is because of chet. We remove the chet, we remove the problem. Ein ha'aroid memis ela chet memis. The Ramelech Shalom Omar al shachav v'fes and tidroich. You walk on a lion, you walk on a snake, kafir tirmos al shachav and tidroich. You trample upon these. We say this. A lot of us have been saying Tilim, Tzadi Aleph, daily basis, sometimes maybe more than once a day, and we say these words. Okay, Tirmos Kafir V'San, and again you go on a young lion, some type another type of serpent, and you walk upon them. That should be your demise. That should be your done. You're finished. But kivi chashak, but because that the person's heart was directed towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have a cheshik for me, a longing for me, you have a deep relationship with me. I will protect that person, I will save him, I will remove him from any type of harm. That's what I will do for that person. Why? Because he knows my name. He's close to me. He's doing my mitzvos. This is the power of what we have within us. It's of course it's all biyad Hashem, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us, and this is what the Chov is always reminding us how powerfully relevant it is, mamish today, as we speak Tuesday night, dealing with all of the uncertainties, to come back to the basics of being introspective. Again, if we would say it, why, we don't know why. The bottom line is, it isn't the Chov is not telling us why the coronavirus is afflicting the world. But he is saying, for us, the approach that a Jew needs to take, and this is again, if I would say it, it would be a big problem. But I'm not saying I'm just learning the Chovos HaLevavos, and the Chovos HaLevavos is telling us, he's telling me, and he's telling all of us that when these things happen, we don't tell somebody else the averos that they're doing. We talk to ourselves. When we become sometimes holy in that, we tell other people why they're afflicted because of the averos that they're doing. No, that's not what the Chovos HaLevavos is telling us to do. He's saying for all of us personally, introspectively, look in the mirror, take it to heart, understand that it's not the virus, it's not the serpent, it's not the lion, it's not the snake, it's chet. So if we can sort of up our game and take this to heart, and as the Chovos HaLevavos says, return to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with a zeal, with Dari Lavodas Habarei, to fulfill the words of V'hoya Ekev Cheshbon HaNefesh, to fulfill the words Asageveru Ki Yoda Shmi. If we focus on knowing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of having a cheshek to connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bez Hashem, the words of David HaMelech will be fulfilled. Bez Hashem will have only Yeshuas Techamos. Bez Hashem will continue with Midah Ofen 20. Bez Hashem next time we get together. Shkoyach.